But I don't play in that. I'm not looking for jobs all the
Yeah.
time.
But I just, you think that you increase the my thought is.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You have entered the meeting as a panelist. Attendees can now hear you speak.
Um, I will start by saying that all members are present, and I believe Chair Ritchie is online.
I am, thank you.
All right. With that, I will actually turn the time over to Councilmember Graff to do the Pledge of Allegiance, since we couldn't recruit anyone from the.
Yeah, we tried.
Okay.
Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Are there any acknowledgements? I always look to you. Are there any?
I was just gonna say, hey, it's Independence Day
You're
this
on.
week. So I was just gonna mention
Yeah,
that.
and if you saw
Everybody has-
Councilmember Hires tie,
Yeah. Hope
he's-
everyone has a safe and wonderful holiday.
yeah, and with that, earlier today, thank you for that, but earlier today, the fire marshal came and talked about the restrictions, and we'll have some restrictions as far as fireworks. So east of Harrison, I'm not sure of all the places, but I think we're going to post it on the website, trying to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe. So
Just to be clear, a little north of Second Street, it moves to Monroe and goes north to the city boundary. So
thanks. Yeah.
since it is so close to the, Harrison is essentially the mountain there. So
And I guess I just want to acknowledge too that the time that city leadership and administration took and construction folks took us on a tour last Wednesday, of both the Wonder Block as it's under construction and the Marshall White Center. And both are moving right along, and both will be wonderful additions to our community when they complete. I think they said we're looking for Marshall White to complete in February or so. So stay tuned.
Anything else? Great. With that, I'm going to turn to the next agenda item, approval of minutes, starting with the work session of May 28th and closed session of June 11th, 2024. Councilmember Graff.
Yes, Vice Chair White, I've reviewed those minutes and find them to be accurate to the best of my recollection.
Great. And the work session and regular meeting of June 4th, 2024, the day before my birthday, Councilmember Blair.
That was not in the minutes, but yes, I reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate. I would make a motion that we adopt the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Blair and second by Councilmember Graff. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Just waiting. All right. Chair Ritchie, do you want to? All right, we'll move on. All right, the next
Any opposed?
item on our agenda is recognition. We have
That passes.
a wonderful recognition, and I'm going to turn the time over to Councilmember Heyer.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair White. This has been, I've got a longtime acquaintance with Jannette Borklund. And so this is really my honor to do this. And I know that Dave Graff also has some closeness with her, in as much as we both served on the Planning Commission for a considerable amount of time. Anyway, it was just always really nice that she was absolutely a rock and the rudder to the planning department. But this is a recognition. The Ogden City Council and Mayor proudly recognize Jannette Borklund for providing invaluable contributions to the Ogden community. Throughout her extraordinary 43-year career in Ogden City's planning department, and I challenge anybody else to come say they worked for Ogden City longer than that. I think that's a record. Jannette Borklund has exemplified exceptional service and unwavering dedication to our community, holding various roles including secretary, senior office assistant, planning technician, and administrative assistant. Jannette has been a cornerstone of the department's success. Her knowledge, professionalism, and passion for serving Ogden City have been invaluable in every role she undertook. As secretary for the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Adjustments, Ogden Trails Network Committee, and the Landmarks Commission, Jannette showcased her exceptional organizational skills and meticulous preparation. Her commitment to accurately documenting commission members' thoughts and ensuring the smooth operation of meetings made her an indispensable asset. Despite facing continuous challenges, increased responsibilities, and numerous technological advancements throughout her career, Jannette maintained a positive attitude and adapted to every situation with unwavering dedication, and helped her colleagues follow along, I might add. Jannette retired after more than 4 decades of service. Her commitment to excellence has had a lasting impact on Ogden City's planning department and the community at large. We wish her the best in her future endeavors and are confident that her influence will impact will continue to be felt for years to come. Presented this second day of July 2024. And I make a motion that we recognize Jannette Borklund with this recognition.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer and second by Councilmember Graff to recognize Jannette Borklund. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And in addition to the written comments that you just shared with us, Rich, congratulations, Jannette, and thank you. Not just from me, but from everybody that's gone through the planning department over your 43 years. You made their experience a richer one and a more organized one as a result of your efforts. Somebody said to me a long time ago that if you think you'll be missed in this job, pull your fist out of a bucket of water and see how long the hole sits there. It doesn't, but I think that in your case, it will. Your name will be mentioned in a positive manner and remembered in the planning area for a long, long time to come. Thank you.
You know, another thing with Jannette, and I gotta add just some personal, we had a field trip every time we'd go on we had a meeting, we'd go to see the sites that were having a proposal. And Jannette would always make the treat. She would kind of make something special for the commissioners and the staff to enjoy in the van as we rode around. And they were always delicious, by the way, Jannette. However, that one day that I got the sponge instead of the brownie on April 1st. You know, yeah. Well, April 1st, yeah, okay, that's April 1st. Yeah, she made a brownie that looked exactly like, a sponge looked exactly like a brownie. And I was the guy that got that year. Everybody was enjoying these delicious brownies, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't bite mine off. But she always made the job fun. She interjected humor. If you ever went into her office, she always had a bunch of cartoons with something that was humorous and stuff. So we're gonna really miss you, Jannette. Your fist is gonna keep that in that bucket of water. So thank you so much for all that you've done for the city and for your tenure. That 43 years is remarkable.
Thank you.
Okay, you have to come up now, though. Well,
You may.
we're gonna take a photo of you. We're gonna hand you this. We're gonna see if we can't get a handshake out of you, and then we want you to say something. Thank you, Jannette. Congratulations. And perhaps your husband and son, and we have some. We have the new planning director, deputy director. Is that what you are now, Joe? Yep, and some planning commissioners. So we gotta have you all come up for this
That'd be
photo.
great.
All people on the outside.
Yeah, we're just gonna have you stand right in front of the council here.
We'll pick through.
Take a knee, young man, take a knee.
We'll find a way.
All right, everybody looking here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should be good. Thank you so much.
Now we want to hear from you, Jannette.
I thought of something to say a few minutes ago, but now I forgot. But it has been a joy to work for Ogden City. It's been, I've learned a lot and met a lot of amazing people, so, but it's nice to be done. I thought about wearing, Mark had bought me a shirt for my retirement party that said, "I'm retired and you're not. Have fun at work tomorrow." And I thought about wearing that today. I thought, no, probably not. Probably not a good idea. But it's been a lot of good time. The thing about the brownies is there was more than one sponge. There were several. But the trick is dipping them in the bitter cocoa powder. So they taste bad too. And then frosting them, and then I had a regular brownie recipe that looked exactly like them, and so I just put them on the same plate. And some people got brownies, and some people got sponges, and those ones that got sponges kind of hid them away and wondered why people were still able to eat what they were eating. And it happened more more than once. I did it more than once on April Fools, so.
Yeah. I wondered if Brian or Kathy ever got a sponge. Did you guys? Oh, Brian got a sponge too. Oh, good.
Brian's been around long enough. Yeah, I've had good leaders, good directors, good planners to work with, and I've learned a lot about planning in the community and seen a lot of growth. Thinking about back in 1981 when I started, we were in a little building on 25th Street, and the city had thought in order to recruit business on 25th Street, because it was just barely starting to turn around, and wanted to get foot traffic down there, so let's buy a building and put the city offices down there. And so we were down there for 4 or 5 years, and then we moved across the street to the state building, because when they built, they only wanted to go 6 stories, and the city said, if you'll go an extra story, we'll take a floor for a while. So we took a floor there for a while, and then we moved across to the corner of 25th in Washington for a while, and then finally back here. So actually, when I started, we were in the Ben Lomond Hotel, but we were contracted with Weber County, so we were actually not a city employee. I was a Weber County employee, so made it through 5 moves. So it's been quite the experience, but I appreciate the recognition. I appreciate the fine, nice words that were said, and just glad to be done with it.
Thanks, Jannette.
Thanks, Jannette.
Thank you, Jannette.
You know, I think Jannette's forgot more than most of the
Yeah.
staff ever knew.
Yeah.
She's been around so long.
Yep.
Right, go ahead, Mayor.
If it's okay if I add
Yep,
a couple of
please.
comments. You know, that's a lot of years. And as I reflect back on the records, I count 7 mayors at least that she's worked with, maybe 8, depending on your exact start date. And we talk about politics a lot in the world today, and we talk about the changes that happen with politics. And we ought to also be reminded of the negative changes that happen with the sea changes that can happen in politics and partisan politics, while always remembering, and I'll just remind everybody, that it's the people that are here every single day doing the work on behalf of the people in the city that are really making the biggest difference. And Jannette is the exact example of that. 7 mayors, maybe 8. All of the policy changes in the politics, all the rhetoric from the past compared to the rhetoric of today, who knows? All of the change that must have come. And all of that time, the steadying of the ship by the Jannettes. So thank you for 4 decades of service. I'm sure if the other mayors were here, they'd thank you for your service. Thanks for always having an eye toward doing the right thing for the right reasons, for people, for our community, for our city. That's what people like you do. And we are so blessed in this city to have Jannette and many, many like her. Thanks.
Thanks,
Yep.
Mayor.
Mhm.
Any other comments? All right. Thank you. Well, next on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding any concerns on ideas or topics. If you want, please come up and state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
These guys all wanted to talk, I think. That's why they all stood up, right?
I can't see if there's anyone on, oh, there we go. All right, great. Oh. All right, let's start with online. Heath Sato, if you can unmute and have 3 minutes.
Hi, Heath Sato, Ogden resident. It was interesting listening to the work session today. there was a lot of discussion about our prosecutor's office, a review done that was requested last April by our city attorney. And I was taken by the city attorney's comments about how, they got back some information they knew, and they got back information like they needed more help there. But he also said that he learned a lot about what they didn't even know they didn't know. Didn't use those exact words, but I thought it was valuable that we did that, and that we've learned these things. And I just want to reiterate that I think it'd be a great idea to do this on a wider scale with the whole city. We haven't had any sort of large scale review like that of where we have people missing, where we need more help, where we have redundancies. And I think it could be good for making our city work a little more smoothly with maybe a little less budget. That would be great. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Heath.
Good evening. Happy Independence Day. We all know what Independence Day was about. It was about taxation without representation. So we threw some tea in the water and started a war and got our representation. And that's you. So some of you here today are representing me. And I appreciate that you're willing to do that and that you're doing that. I listened to the work session today as well, and that's what prompted me to come down here. I was working on one of my properties, but I wanted to say some things that I observed, wanted to talk about them. So we're getting a huge increase in pay for the police and the fire department, and most of the departments, everybody that works for Ogden City. And I feel like there's a very big disconnect in Ogden City between the services that are being provided and the people that are receiving the services, the taxpayers. Because I feel like there's the same people who are the criminals, and they're the criminals 10 years ago, and they're the criminals 5 years ago, and they're the criminals today. And you have the same people that are the taxpayers. And they were the taxpayers 10 years ago, and they were the taxpayers 5 years ago, and they're the taxpayers today. Those groups of people have not changed in the city of Ogden. So we have the police that are taxed with, dealing with the criminals, and then we have the prosecutor's office that is taxed with putting the criminals in jail. And we have the idea of these departments paying for themselves, or who's going to pay for all these services? Well, it's the taxpayers, the same taxpayers that were taxpayers 10 years ago, and the same taxpayers that are taxpayers today. And the criminals are the same criminals that were criminals 10 years ago, and the criminals are the same criminals that are the criminals today. So what have we learned in that time? Like, where have we progressed? How have we become a better city, a more functional city? And that, I think, is the question. I heard something about there being a fund for women victims. And I feel like women have continuously been the victims in Ogden City, and they were 10 years ago, and they are today. And I don't know if that's moved the needle at all. But the needle needs to move. It just needs to move. The taxpayers cannot be paying for all this forever. The criminals need to start becoming taxpayers somehow. Figure it out. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, Teresa, if you could state your name.
Teresa Bramwell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We know who you are. Anyone else? I see some movement.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, my name's Tara Oki. I live on Taylor Avenue, the portion that connects Weber State to the D Event Center. And I think I've had some neighbors here before, but we were proposing a gate to stop traffic from our road going into Weber State. We love living where we're at. We love Weber State. It's just safety for our family. I have my 3 children here today. And I would say almost every other home on our street has a family just like mine. So we've tried things in the past. They have seen, speedometers to see how fast traffic's moving. You probably have record of that. How many people were on our street during that time frame? When we first moved in 13 years ago, they put up signs that you couldn't park on our street anymore. They've done several things, but nothing has changed the flow of traffic. We even have that portion of you can park at the D Event Center and take the bus over to Weber State now. Loved it. It was a great idea. We still have a lot of traffic on our road. So we would like to put up a gate. We love the games, the events that happen at Weber State. We propose to have a gate that can open during those events. For the Linquist fireworks every year, things that our community loves and enjoys. But just to keep the safety for our road and the homes on that road and the children and the families on that road. And I know that there's been some things happen on the other side of Weber State with Birch where they actually put a gate up and closed that road. So we feel like if they can do it, why can't we? And so I don't know if there's any comments or anything additional to share. My husband did mention we have a lot of sports teams or players and teams that come through, and they love to speed. They love to have illegal mufflers on their vehicles, so they're loud. And as much as we want to support our teams and Weber State, we just want additional resources to make our road and our neighborhood safe. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tara. All right. Anybody else? Okay.
Here you go.
Yep.
Can I still come up?
You bet.
I'm Jake Oki. I live on Taylor. You just heard my wife speak. I'm going to speak on something a little bit different. Still traffic in our area. But the last little bit, there's been construction on Country Hills Drive, just down from our house, next to the old Jake's Over the Top. And it's been a huge inconvenience for myself and many of the people in that neighborhood. Multiple times I've had to turn around at the bottom because I realized the road's closed. Well, there's no signs on my section of the road that remind me that the road's closed. And so I'll end up driving through Weber State or through the D Event Center parking lot or up across Taylor Avenue. Shortly after construction started, though, I saw police officers parked at the old Jake's Over the Top parking lot, just waiting for people to drive through the road closed sign, and then they'd pull them over, which, hey, that's great. It's enforcing the law. However, I think there could be a much better way. Park at the top where it says road closed and remind people not to go through there. Or even better, they could guide traffic. There's a perfect opportunity to protect and serve the community. There's plenty of space in that area for both lanes of traffic. Currently, as it is right now, the whole time. So it's probably a little late, the construction wrapping up soon, but next time we have something that's going to close the road in one direction, I would rather my tax dollars be used to have a police officer guiding traffic both ways rather than ambushing us on one end. So that's all.
Great. Thanks, Jake. Anyone else? No one else online? I don't think. Okay. All right. Let's address some of the comments if we can. I just want to say a couple of comments real quick. With Heath, I do think that there is a larger scale staffing study that we're hoping to propose. I think that's coming. So thanks, Heath, for that. As far as Teresa Bramwell's comments, I think one of the nice things that we did 3 years ago with the Evergreen study, we made sure that at least within our city that women were paid equitable compared to men. And so I would hope that that is also another focus within our current compensation study. And then I think it'd be best if, Mayor, you can address the Taylor Avenue and where we're at with that.
Dying to.
And maybe even with both of their comments and the signage and those kind of things.
Thanks. I'll if it's okay, I'll start with the staffing study. Thank you, Heath, for the comment. I'm in full support of such a move. The compensation study we're doing now, as soon as it ends, we will start a staffing study. I'm certain that there's room for improvement. And one of the things that I've learned in my 6 months that I was reminded by a reporter today is my 6-month mark, is that it's really hard to be proactive when you're always reactive. And when we talk about new positions, there's real need and real demand and real overload and overwhelm and real burnout in a lot of places in the city. I'm anxious to get to the staffing study, and the independence and third-party view is important. I hope we'll remember that when we look at third-party information before us currently as well. A comment was made about the huge increase in salaries as well as the quote disconnect. I just want to say, instead of thinking about the huge increase in salary, think about the huge disparity in the salaries that we've been paying for a lot of years to the staff that we have. That's what it is. It's not a huge increase. It's indicative of the big delta between what we've been paying people and what other cities have been paying. It's a little bit of a different way to look at it, but it's the fact. So I'm really happy that we can finally catch up to average with our peers. Because I think that's, when we talk about disconnect, that was why I framed my budget proposal the way I did when I looked at the tax proposal that I provided relative to the increases in median wage in our area, minus how much extra it costs people through inflation to pay for a product. There's only about a 1% difference between the two, and that's where my proposal came from, trying to be connected to the people in the requests that we make. Thank you, Tara and Jake, for your comments. I promise you don't have to continue to show up. We're taking action. I just want to say I can't speak for the actions or inactions from the past. I wasn't here. I had 2 hours notice before the last meeting through an email from Mr. Ritchie, who I think was leading the charge, before being confronted about it here. And I understand really well the position this man finds himself in, having sat in this exact chair and others around here, that you rely on as a council member, some collaboration and some cooperation from the administration to make sure that the things that he's telling neighbors are followed up on by the administration, because it's two different halves of government, but we serve the same people. And so I want to make the commitment to him, but also to all of the neighbors, that we hear what you're saying and we want to help. I can't, like I said, I can't speak for what did or didn't happen in the past, but we've already had a meeting with Mr. Ritchie. We've had 2 meetings internally, I think. We're looking at a number of different interventions immediately and long-term. And we're not going to say that we're going to look into it and then not look into it. So I only ask that you give us a chance, give me a chance. I know that that doesn't go for much when you've had years of giving others a chance. But I promise you I'm trying not to be that kind of a mayor. And I know that our people are not those types of people. They want to be helpful. And I know that I think every time, you guys could probably relate, every time we're asked to make an intervention on the east bench in traffic, the neighborhood comes with a solution. Do this. And then, but the way it really works is there's a lot of risk to our engineers when they do that or do anything in traffic flow. And our engineers are personally licensed to be an engineer. And so when they stamp something, there's a personal liability that goes with it. And what they have to do by standards within their field is they have to put an intervention into a model and see how it changes the traffic flow, not just for that specific spot, for all areas around it, right? And they want to do it in terms of providing services for a university as well as a community that boundaries it, right? So we have to allow them to put those inputs into the model and give us outputs back and give us inputs so that we can choose the best alternative that minimizes the risk so that they are not personally responsible for stamping something that wasn't responsible, if that makes sense. So I do ask that you give us a chance to work on it, but we also give our engineers an opportunity to apply their expertise with my urging. I think there's a lot of different solutions to it, including after talking with Councilmember Blair at the employee picnic, thanks for coming, by the way, all of you, about the timing of the enforcement. It's not just any day and every day and any time of the year. It's also when school starts, and it's certain hours during school that matters too. So I don't say this lightly. I know who you are. We're looking at Coach Zeke. Jake, you're the guy that took me to the hospital when I ruptured my Achilles. It's a lifetime injury and debilitating nerve damage still. They're people and kids that I know. And we want to be helpful. We want to be a partner at Weber State too. I think it's been 1 week and 2 hours since it came to my desk. So I think we're making some progress, but I know it can't be fast enough given the past, but we'll do everything we can to help, okay? And talk to me afterwards because it's against the rules to just shout out stuff. I don't want to get in trouble with the chair. I think that was it on the list I had. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity, and it's an opportunity to serve, so I look forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Any other comments from the mayor?
None at this time, thanks.
All right. Comments from the council members?
I'll just address a little bit, and I won't go into what I did 2 weeks ago when you weren't here, but I do appreciate the Okies and another neighbor, Tim Nestoriak, just showed up. But yeah, I consider myself part of that neighborhood, but I don't live on that street. So, but I do know those neighbors want a solution. They want to figure out what's best and what works best for that neighborhood and for Weber State. So I applaud their efforts. I applaud. I know Tim has hosted meetings, and I'm sure if something like that is needed or would be helpful, they would be happy to host you or to host us. I'm happy to be part of it too. I know Dave spent some time up there also, and he knows he's heard some complaints also. But there's definitely a lot of energy there, and no one's pointing fingers and no one's saying do this, do that. I think we all want to work together. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your willingness to listen and to implement something that would help. So I applaud them for being here. I applaud you for taking their complaints seriously, and I do think there are solutions that can happen that do benefit everyone. So that's all.
I just want to make a quick comment, and I want to start by saying that it's budget related, and that city budgets are very inherently complicated. And I want to say that the administration has been a great partner through this, and we have really been working on trying to ask questions. I don't know how many countless hours I've spent talking to everyone and trying different things and going to administration and asking them to rerun numbers and do those kind of things. And so I just want to do a shout out to the administration for being here and then allowing us to ask the questions. And I think for those that have maybe shown up to see us in the work sessions, we're playing it out in real time, and we're asking questions, and sometimes that's a fear and a risk for some of us because we don't know all the answers, but we're asking the questions, and sometimes they may not come off in the best way, but I really do appreciate the administration and your staff for being able to answer questions and being there to do that. So thank you. Yeah, and the but part of that is that we still have a few weeks to go, so we would love to hear from anyone that has concerns or what we're doing. So if you have some questions, reach out to us.
Can I just make a follow-up? And then I'll be done. I would like to thank the administration also. In the work session, we finished right at 6 o'clock, which made it hard to thank those directors for coming and presenting and I don't want to say explaining, but providing more input and more feedback on the positions that are being proposed. I know I've been thinking a lot about that today as my role or our role is to try to do what we can with the limited funds that are available, right? And I think we've talked about that. We've talked about different solutions. We've talked about different ideas, and then it kind of hit me too to end during Monty's presentation. I don't think any of us want to do anything that is going to not allow them or any department to do their job to the best of their ability. We want them to be able to work and to serve this community and not have 200 plus, 400 plus hours of overtime because they are overworked. So I appreciate both of you, and if you'll let them know that, I appreciate all those directors being there tonight, explaining to us the need, I think is more valuable is what I learned tonight is the need, and which gave me some insight on how I want to do my part, but I also don't want to stop our employees from being able to do their job also. So.
And staying here for
Yep.
43 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Just one comment. As we've reviewed the budget over the past month and a half, it's been eye-opening to me to see the depth of study and review and proposals that have been placed before us. And as part of my due diligence, I've gone back and visited with other city council members, former mayors, and others administrative staff, in trying to understand the budget process. And the one thing that kind of rings true to me is that in the past, the city employees have always paid the price. And they've been the ones that have not had the pay increases. Their pay accounts for a significant part of our budget. So it's impressive to me that in an effort to try to have stability in our city and to treat our employees with the respect and dignity that they deserve, and to have the interest in trying to have them be long-term employees and to be successful in what they're doing, and by not being at the top of the pay scale, but by being more in the middle of a pay scale, I feel good about the budget process that we've gone through in these types of review, and I'm grateful that we have that type of insight and wisdom to review and the compensation packages and to bring forth proposals to our city. We've got a lot going on in Ogden right now. Other administrations in the past have not had that opportunity to be able to expand on some of the civic and community building projects that they're doing, like the Marshall White Center, Union Station, and also the Wonder Block, and at the same time to be able to propose pay increases for our employees. I think it's an exceptional time. I think a lot of work has taken place. I applaud the efforts that have gone into that. We still have a little more work to do to be able to get to the end of the row. But I'm grateful, and I just want to express appreciation for the effort that have gone into this budget process. It's eye-opening to me as a businessman. It's more complicated than many of the factors that I face, but it's an outstanding effort that's been put forward. I think our administration has been representative of our community and our taxpayers, and unfortunately the sad reality is there are some increases that are being proposed. I think they're prudent. I think they're wise. I think they have been limited in scope, but I think the necessity of some of the increases are, unfortunately, to taxpayers and other entities. I think that it's a prudent and a wise proposal that's coming forward, and it's been eye-opening. I just want to express thanks to all those that have put in the time and effort and done the heavy lifting to get us where we're at the current time. So, thanks very much.
Right?
Motion to adjourn?
There's one other item on the agenda, is the closed
Oh.
closed session. I don't think we have to do anything if we're not going into it, correct? We've chosen not to go into our closed session, so now,
Motion to adjourn?
all right.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're done. Thank you.